In the heart of nature, 5 park rangers disappeared without anyone knowing where they went. It's like they vanished into thin air. We're going on a journey to uncover the truth behind their mysterious disappearances. What could have happened to them? Join us as we delve deeper into the wilderness to find out what really happened to these brave rangers. In the heart of Yellowstone National Park, where the air is crisp and the trees stand tall, a tale of adventure and peril unfolded. It began with 2 brothers, Mark O'Neill and Kim Crumbo, who shared a passion for exploration and the great outdoors. Mark, a seasoned 67-year-old adventurer from Chimacum, Washington, and Kim, a sprightly 74-year-old from Ogden, Utah, both worked for the National Park Service. Despite their age difference, they were inseparable companions, embarking on countless adventures together. Their latest escapade was a 4-night journey to Shoshone Lake, a remote and serene location nestled within the heart of the park. With their backpacks loaded and their trusty canoe Sholu strapped to the roof of Mark's Honda Pilot, they eagerly set out on their expedition. Their journey began auspiciously as they made their way to Lewis Lake Campground, the starting point of their adventure. However, upon arrival, they were met with disappointment. The campground was fully occupied. Undeterred, the resilient duo decided to improvise and kickstart their expedition a day early. Little did they know this impromptu decision would alter the course of their journey. Opting for a makeshift campsite at South Narrow Point, they pitched their tent and settled in for the night. Underneath the vast expanse of the starlit sky, they exchanged stories, laughter, and cherished memories by the crackling campfire, relishing the tranquility of the wilderness. As dawn broke, they eagerly embarked on their canoeing expedition, navigating the tranquil waters of Shoshone Lake with Sholu as their trusty vessel. The shimmering surface of the lake reflected the surrounding majesty of towering pine trees and snow-capped peaks, instilling a sense of awe and wonder in the intrepid explorers. Their journey was initially idyllic as they paddled leisurely along the southern shore of the lake, basking in the serenity of their surroundings. However, nature had other plans in store for them. Unbeknownst to the brothers, dark clouds began to gather ominously on the horizon, heralding the onset of an impending storm. As gusts of wind intensified and waves surged with ferocity, their tranquil excursion transformed into a battle against the elements. Faced with mounting adversity, Mark and Kim strained against the tempestuous onslaught, their muscles burning with exertion as they fought to maintain control of their canoe. Yet despite their valiant efforts, the relentless fury of the storm threatened to overwhelm them. In a desperate bid for survival, they resolved to seek refuge on the nearest shore, braving the treacherous waters in a harrowing swim for safety. The icy embrace of the lake enveloped them, chilling them to the bone as they struggled against the merciless currents. With every stroke, their strength waned, and their resolve wavered. Yet fueled by sheer determination and an unbreakable bond, they pressed onward, driven by the primal instinct to survive against all odds. But fate proved unkind, as the unforgiving waters of Shoshone Lake exacted a toll too steep to bear. Exhausted and disoriented, Mark and Kim succumbed to the frigid depths, their bodies consumed by the icy embrace of the lake. Days turned into weeks, and the once vibrant spirits of Mark and Kim vanished without a trace, despite exhaustive search efforts by park rangers and rescue teams. Yet amid the solemnity of their untimely demise, the memories of Mark and Kim endured, an example to the enduring bonds of kinship and the spirit of exploration that transcends the boundaries of time and space. In the vast expanse of Kruger National Park, Checkers Mashego embarked on his routine patrol. He was a seasoned ranger, his years of experience etched into the lines of his weathered face. With each step, he traversed the familiar trails of the park, his senses attuned to the rhythm of the wilderness. On this particular evening in November, as Mashego made his way along the Unsakazi River in the Stoll's Neck section of the park, he encountered a sight that filled his heart with both wonder and concern. Nestled among the tall grasses by the riverbank was a family of elephants, their majestic forms illuminated by the soft glow of the setting sun. Mashego watched in awe as the elephants moved gracefully through the landscape, their movements fluid and deliberate. But as he observed them from a distance, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that gnawed at the edges of his mind. Something seemed off and out of place in the otherwise tranquil scene before him. As Mashego continued his patrol, his senses on high alert, he noticed a subtle shift in the atmosphere around him. The air seemed to crackle with tension, a silent warning of unseen dangers lurking in the shadows. Despite his instincts urging him to retreat, Mashego pressed on, determined to fulfill his duty as a guardian of the park. As night fell and darkness enveloped the landscape, Mashego's unease grew, a nagging sense of foreboding that refused to be ignored. Every rustle of the leaves and every snap of a twig sent shivers down his spine, his senses heightened by the primal instinct to survive. Hours passed and Mashego found himself deep in the heart of the wilderness, far from the safety of his base camp. The moon cast an eerie glow over the landscape, illuminating the tangled undergrowth and casting long, twisting shadows across the forest floor. Suddenly, Mashego's radio crackled to life, breaking the silence of the night with a burst of static. His heart skipped a beat as he listened intently to the voice on the other end, a colleague reporting in from a nearby patrol. But as the message faded into the darkness, Mashego realized with a sinking feeling that he was alone, isolated in the vastness of the park, with no one to turn to for help. With a sense of urgency, Mashego quickened his pace, his footsteps echoing in the stillness of the night. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of being hunted by unseen predators lurking in the shadows. As dawn broke over the horizon, Mashego realized with a sinking feeling that he had lost his way. The landmarks that had once guided him were now obscured by the thick undergrowth, leaving him disoriented and vulnerable in the vast expanse of the park. Panic surged through Mashego's veins as he struggled to find his way back to safety. Every passing moment felt like an eternity, each step bringing him further into the heart of the wilderness and further from the safety of civilization. But despite his efforts, Mashego remained lost in the wilderness, his fate a mystery that would haunt the park's corridors for years to come. His family, his colleagues, and the entire community mourned his loss, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that he had ventured bravely into the unknown, never to return. And so the story of Checkers Mashego's disappearance became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the unforgiving nature of the wild and the fragile thread that binds us to the world around us. His memory lived on in the hearts of those who knew him, a proof of his courage, his dedication, and his spirit in the face of challenges. The sun rose over Rocky Mountain National Park, illuminating the rugged landscape below. Jeff Christensen, a park ranger with a heart as big as the mountains themselves, began his patrol on July 29, 2005. He was a man of the wilderness, born and raised in Minnesota, where forests stretch for miles and lakes glisten like jewels in the sun. From a young age, Jeff had felt a deep connection to nature, spending his days exploring the great outdoors with a sense of wonder and adventure. As Jeff set out on his patrol that fateful day, the air was crisp and cool, carrying with it the scent of pine and the promise of adventure. He was a seasoned ranger, well-versed in the ways of the wilderness, and he approached each day with a sense of purpose and dedication. For Jeff, being a park ranger wasn't just a job, it was a way of life, a calling that had led him to Rocky Mountain National Park, where he felt most at home. As he wandered deeper into the heart of the park, Jeff couldn't help but marvel at the beauty that surrounded him. Tall peaks loomed in the distance, their snow-capped summits reaching toward the sky. The landscape was alive with the sounds of wildlife, from the chirping of birds to the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. It was a place of beauty where nature reigned supreme, and Jeff felt truly alive. But amidst the beauty, there lingered a sense of unease, a whisper of doubt that danced on the edge of Jeff's consciousness. It was a feeling he couldn't quite shake, like a shadow lurking just beyond the reach of the sun. As the day wore on and Jeff ventured deeper into the wilderness, the feeling only grew stronger, gnawing at him like a hungry beast. No one, not even Jeff, knew that it would be the last time that he'd be seen alive. Hours passed and night fell over the wilderness like a shroud. Jeff was nowhere to be found, his fate shrouded in mystery and uncertainty. As dawn broke over Rocky Mountain National Park, a sense of dread hung heavy in the air, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurked in the wilderness. The search for Jeff would become the largest in the history of the park, drawing in hundreds of volunteers and search teams from across the country. But despite their efforts, Jeff's disappearance would remain one of the greatest mysteries in the annals of Rocky Mountain National Park. Days passed, but there was still no sign of Jeff. His family and friends refused to give up hope, clinging to the belief that somewhere, somehow, he was still out there, waiting to be found. Then, on August 6, 2005, a hiker stumbled upon a grisly discovery: the lifeless body of Jeff Christensen, lying amidst the rugged beauty of the Mummy Range. The news sent shockwaves through the park community, casting a pall of sadness over the once vibrant landscape. But even in death, Jeff's legacy lived on. His dedication to the wilderness he loved inspired a wave of change within the park, leading to the introduction of high-visibility safety apparel for field rangers. It was a fitting tribute to a man who had dedicated his life to protecting others, even at the cost of his own. As Jeff's family and friends gathered to mourn his passing, they took solace in the knowledge that he died doing what he loved, exploring the wild and beauty of Rocky Mountain National Park. And though his loss was keenly felt, his spirit would forever linger in the whisper of the wind and the rustle of the leaves, a silent guardian watching over the wilderness he loved so dearly. In the heart of Fort Collins, where the jagged peaks of the Rocky Mountains loomed in the distance, there lay a tranquil oasis known as Horsetooth Reservoir. Its shimmering waters beckoned to all who sought solace amidst the chaos of modern life, offering a sanctuary where troubles melted away like snowflakes on a warm spring day. Brendan Unit, a man with a heart as vast as the wilderness itself, had always felt drawn to the beauty of Horsetooth. From a young age, he had spent countless hours exploring its shores, marveling at the wonders that lay hidden beneath the surface. It was here, amidst the whispering pines and rocky outcrops, that Brendan felt most alive. As he grew older, Brendan's love for the outdoors blossomed into a passion for conservation and stewardship. He dreamt of a future where he could dedicate himself to protecting the natural world, ensuring that future generations could experience its wonders just as he had. And so when the opportunity arose to join the ranks of the Larimer County Department of Natural Resources as a boat ranger at Horsetooth Reservoir, Brendan leaped at the chance. It was a dream come true, a chance to merge his love for the outdoors with his desire to serve his community. From the moment he donned his ranger hat and stepped onto the deck of his patrol boat, Brendan knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. Day in and day out, he patrolled the reservoir's waters, keeping a watchful eye for signs of trouble and lending a helping hand to those in need. Whether it was assisting stranded boaters, rescuing lost hikers, or simply sharing his vast knowledge of the local flora and fauna, Brendan approached each day with unflinching dedication and boundless enthusiasm. His infectious smile and warm demeanor endeared him to all who crossed his path. But amidst the laughter and camaraderie, Brendan never forgot the solemn responsibility that came with his badge. He knew that Horsetooth Reservoir could be as unforgiving as it was beautiful, its tranquil waters concealing dangers both seen and unseen. It was a lesson he would soon learn firsthand. One fateful afternoon, as the sun dipped below the horizon and cast its golden glow across the water, Brendan received a distress call from a group of boaters stranded on the far side of the reservoir. Without hesitation, he revved the engine of his patrol boat and set off into the gathering dusk. determined to lend aid to those in need. But as he raced across the water, a sudden gust of wind swept down from the mountains, catching Brendan off guard and sending his boat careening off course. Panic surged within him as he fought to regain control, the darkness closing in around him like a suffocating blanket. In the chaos that ensued, Brendan's boat was lost in the churning waters, leaving him stranded and alone as darkness gathered. With each passing moment, the storm continued its relentless assault, its fury unabated, while Brendan clung to the hope of rescue amidst the howling winds and crashing waves. But as the hours stretched into eternity, Brendan knew that his fate was sealed, and then, as swiftly as it had begun, the storm subsided, leaving nothing behind but an empty expanse of water and the echoes of a life cut short before its time. Brendan Unit had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only memories and a legacy that would endure long after the waters of Horsetooth Reservoir had stilled. In the heart of Yosemite Valley, where the ancient trees stand tall and proud, there was a man named John Blevins Cogdell III. He wasn't just any man, he was a ranger, someone who looked after Yosemite National Park. John's days were filled with exploring nature's wonders, trees, waterfalls, and blue skies. With his blonde-gray hair shining in the sunlight and his eyes as blue as the sky, he loved wandering around the park, making sure everything was okay. One sunny day, as birds chirped and leaves rustled in the wind, John went out for his usual walk. He had a map and a smile, ready to see what Yosemite had in store. As he walked, John saw all sorts of animals, a family of deer eating grass, a squirrel running around, and even an eagle flying high above. Each sight made him happy and reminded him why he loved his job. But as the day went on and the sun got higher, John felt something strange. It was like a weird feeling in his stomach, as if something wasn't right in the park. Despite feeling strange, John kept going, wanting to do his job as a ranger. He checked trails, watched animals, and made sure everything was okay. But no matter what he did, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him. As the afternoon turned into evening and the shadows got longer, John found himself in a quiet part of the park, a place not many people went to. The air smelled like trees and dirt, and the only sound was the wind blowing through the leaves. In the middle of this quiet spot, John found a little clearing, a secret place hidden away from everything else. In the middle of the clearing was a big oak tree, its branches reaching up to the sky. Underneath the tree, John felt calm and peaceful, a feeling as if he belonged there. He stayed for a while, enjoying the quiet, before he had to leave. But as the sun went down and the forest got dark, John started to feel nervous. It was like the trees were talking to him, whispering secrets in the wind. With a heavy heart, John walked back home, feeling scared and unsure. And then, out of nowhere, it got really dark, and John disappeared into the night. As the hours passed, Yosemite Valley waited for John to come back, hoping he was okay. But he never did, leaving everyone wondering what happened to John Blevins Cogdell III, the ranger who loved the wilderness. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but there was no sign of John. The park rangers searched high and low, but there was no trace of him anywhere. Some people said that John had gotten lost in the woods, while others believed that something more sinister had happened, but no one knew for sure, and the mystery of John's disappearance remained unsolved. As time went on, the memory of John began to fade, replaced by new stories and new adventures. But for those who knew him, the pain of his loss lingered, a constant reminder of the dangers that lurked in the wilderness.